Hi there. In this video I'd like to go through the mods I've made to my Ducati 959 Panigale Corse, and but before I do that I will talk through the differences between the Corse and the base 959 model. Now Ducati don't normally do a S model of their baby superbikes, but also traditionally as that base model is in the latter stages of production, they do a special edition which perhaps is akin to the S model, and the 959 has been no exception before it gets replaced by presumably a V4 perhaps at the end of 2019, which is an exciting prospect in itself. But in the meantime, the 959 Corse most notably includes an upgrade to the suspension, so it has Olin suspension, but there's other couple of nice features as well. First of all, most noticeably, this really nice paint job. The stock or base 959 is available in red or a matte white. Now, I'm normally a purist and would go straight for the red model, but because one of the so-called cost-cutting measures that Ducati make to their baby superbike is that they don't actually coat the red paint in clear coat lacquer, which makes the red model very susceptible, and the decals on that aren't coated in lacquer. And I've seen examples where the Ducati name on the tank is peeling off, etc., and I really don't like that. So but thankfully the very nice paint job on this Corse model comes with the matte paint, which I think looks spectacular, and the matte finish is actually achieved with a matte lacquer over the paint, so problem solved there. Not perfect, but I think a really nice paint job, and I'm very happy with it. I've got another bike, a Street Triple RX, which has a matte paint job, and that really sold me on matte finishes to paint jobs. It's really been very durable and quite impressive. So the other changes to the Corse model are it comes with a side Akrapovic exhaust. Akrapovic, I say that. And but I'll more on the exhaust in a moment. And then the other change is that it comes as stock with a lithium ion battery rather than the lead acid battery for weight saving. So this all for me feeds in with the paint job, which is very reminiscent of the 1199 and 1299 Superleggera models, which were very much focused on weight saving. This very much plays into my mind. I mean, I love the Superleggera idea and the specific bikes. So having a baby Superleggera, and some of the mods I made have very much been towards weight saving. So I like to think of this as a baby Superleggera in my mind. I love it. So coming back to the exhaust, the 959 model itself was a Euro 4 replacement for the 899, which had these fantastic underbelly exhausts which look really cool. But the 959, as well as a slight engine power increase, switched to the Euro 4 compliant exhaust, which were the side exhausts, which are actually on the right hand side of the bike and wouldn't even be visible on this side anyway. But they are commonly thought of as being very ugly compared to the underbelly exhausts, and Ducati have really, I think, struggled to sell the 959 because with its stock exhaust, because it is so darned ugly. And that underbelly exhaust, as nature intended, is still available in the US and places like Australia outside Europe, where they don't have to be Euro 4 compliant, so it really is still as nature intended. So what Ducati have done is had to make concessions to try and still shift 959s with the ugly exhaust. So the stock 959 Corse, as it leaves the showroom, is fitted with an Akrapovic side exhaust, which is a cool brand, a nice titanium exhaust to have on your bike, but it's still unfortunately a standard and road legal, the side exhaust on the other side of the bike. I'll post a picture of that. But over the summer, later into the summer, indeed the winter, Ducati have had a special offer on the Akrapovic underbelly exhaust in titanium, which I took up that offer, and that really was the tipping point which made me decide to buy a 959 both with the Corse Olin suspension and the underbelly exhaust offer. It was not cheap, a irresistible combination. So this bike is fitted with the Akrapovic underbelly exhaust, which I'll show you now. Now those Akrapovic exhausts are technically race cans. They are just slip-ons, they're not the full system, but slight bending of the rules there. I don't go into that any further, but they sound fantastic on the road. It's actually still running this bike in. It's got a very long running period. It's can't take it to more than 6,000 revs until the first service, and then after the first service, no more than 7,000 revs up to 1,500 miles, which is really quite a long running period. A lot of Ducati owners don't do 1,500 miles during the period of ownership, but I certainly intend to on this bike. So I'm being very careful to run it in. A lot of the forums have lots of different opinions about the running in process. I'm, as well as being a purist, quite fussy about this such things, so I'm definitely determined to run it in by the book. Now if Ducati wanted you to cut corners on running in, they motivated to do so, but they don't, and I'm going to do it by the book. So I've currently got nearly 1,100 miles on this bike before the salty roads etc set in, so it's parked up for winter, and then summer I'll put those remaining 400 miles on and be ready for some track days, which I certainly intend to do, so I can start redlining the beast. Okay, coming to the specific mods I've had made to the bike beyond the exhaust. During the PDI inspection, the dealer somewhat has to do work on the bike to get it ready for collection. So while the dealer had the bike, had them do some of the more intricate mods that I wanted to have done. I've done these sort of things in the past, but with this bike I wanted to done professionally. So as standard, the well, now the V4, but the 1299 Panigale comes with LED rear indicators, and the baby superbike, again under the guise of cost cutting, comes with bulb rear indicators which look awful. So one of the mods I had done first, combined with fitting an EvoTech Performance tail tidy, was to have LED rear indicators and the tail tidy fitted. So really tidies up the rear end of the bike. The LEDs look fantastic and much more sleek, probably as bright if not brighter, and definitely something I consider an essential mod, as well as the tail tidy. I did consider the Ducati Performance tail tidy, but I've had several EvoTech tail tidies in the past and always been happy with them. I don't think the Ducati Performance tail tidy is quite as tidy as this one. This is very minimal, so very happy to continue with EvoTech. Wherever possible, I've gone for Ducati Performance official parts, including these indicators, but in this case, for a couple of exceptions, one of which was the EvoTech tail tidy. Okay, so moving again from the rear of the bike, the other thing that I had done by the dealer was to move the rear pillion pegs. Now, certainly don't intend to carry a passenger on the bike, and so the only real reason would be to keep the rear pillion pegs would be for safety. If the bike falls over, they offer a bit of protection, but in the interests of having the bike look its very best, I'd rather have those removed, so they've gone. The other thing to note is that the 959 with the side exhaust, which will be on the other side of the bike, would normally use the rear pillion pegs as the hanger for the exhaust on that side of the bike, and there's certainly an EvoTech part you could buy to replace the footrests, but would actually provide the hanger for the side exhaust. But another advantage of having the underbelly exhaust is that just isn't necessary, so that's a big win there. So the rear of the bike is now really open. It looks fantastic. And then in combination with removing the rear foot pegs is the seat cowl on the rear. Now, I think this looks really excellent. I'm sort of a little disappointed to notice with the latest V4 that the rear seat cowl is completely covered. So there isn't that black strip, which I think it makes to some eyes can look like there's still a rear seat. I mean, it would be rather uncomfortable rear seat. But I would prefer that it was coloured in the body colour of the bike all over. That was just a design choice that Ducati made for this year of the bike, and including the 1299. But nevertheless, I think with this branding of the bike, just to emphasise the colour scheme and the styling of that, I'm really happy with the overall effect of the tail tidy. So there we have a tail tidy conversion from big poster with 2-seater to monoposter, single-seater. Remove the rear seat pegs, and there we have it, much cleaner look on the rear. So one thing to note is that if you have, I think if you have a rear seat on the bike, you've got to have rear pegs and vice versa. So for the MOT when it comes to that age of the bike. So if you do the conversion of removing the rear seat pegs, you have to do the seat conversion as well. So this is firmly a monoposter bike. Again, at the rear of the bike, some of the other changes I've made are replacing some of the plastic parts with carbon. So there's a cluster of that here, which are recent additions to the bike. The rear hugger is replaced from being a black plastic part to being a carbon part with a bit of a weight saving. It's really minimal weight saving, but I like to think these things add up. In my mind, I'm building this Superleggera. What will be aluminium heel guards have been replaced with their carbon equivalent. Again, another very minor weight saving. And the rear shock guard has also been replaced. That's normally a black plastic part. That's been replaced with a carbon part. And in my pursuit of weight saving, I'm going to claim that the 2 grams that were saved between the part for black plastic to converting to carbon were worth it. But of course, I'm just fooling myself because that was something like 130 quid, so I've got to find some way to justify it. Okay, so continuing the mods, one of the other things that the dealer did at the start when I bought the bike was to replace the ugly clear plastic fluid reservoirs. So the brake and clutch reservoirs that would have been white plastic with black caps have been replaced with black anodised aluminium parts, which I think looks super cool. Moving to the front of the bike, and the mods arrayed around there. Move the orange reflectors which are on the forks. I guess that's a legal requirement for when the bike's delivered, but get those off as soon as possible. Stop looking like a schoolboy. One of the things which is not Superleggera is to add a lower rad guard. This is again the Ducati Performance part. Not actually super happy with how that fits. It has 2 bolts which attached, as you can see there, protruding out, which looks a bit weird. The EvoTech Performance part is actually more elegant fitting, but maybe Ducati have the reasons for doing it that way. It was a bit of a palaver getting that fixed. It turns out that the way that mine attached to the radiator, the guard attached to the radiator, was the 1199, 1299 version of fitting rather than the 959. Don't really know why that was. Perhaps Ducati have standardised on a single way, but it certainly caused a bit of palaver as the supplied bolts didn't work on this bike. And then the other thing I've done is to replace the black front fender or front mudguard with the carbon equivalent. Again, really sort of set the bike off with its carbon looks, and plays into the Superleggera theme. Again, minor weight saving, expensive part, but gotta do the job properly. Okay, one last mod I forgot to mention is the second EvoTech non-Ducati Performance part that I've used is the rear stand bobbins. So that's a minor fitment, not really anything that's again Superleggera at all, but just a practicality change, so you can stand it on the paddock stand and use the ground anchor and chain with the bike. Actually, the bobbins which come as part of the Ducati Performance are actually part of the rear stand you get from Ducati, and I already had a pit bull stand that I wanted to make use of, so I just got those EvoTech bobbins, which are perfectly fine. Okay, so those are the mods I made to my 959 Corse. Great bike. Thanks for watching.